Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to my Match Week 13 League One predictions. Of course, this week was meant to be getting you involved. However, because of last week's international calls and so many games being postponed, that'll be starting from next week. So here are the fixtures for Match Week 14 on the screen for you right now. You can send in one, two, all of the fixtures. It's up to you completely how many fixtures you want to predict and send in your videos of you predicting them. It's very, very simple. It can be a 5-second video, 10-second video, individual clips, one massive clip, or one massive video if you predicted all of them. I don't care. Either way, I want that in, please, for next week. So let's say I'll record it on Thursdays or Wednesdays normally. Let's go for Tuesday. So by next Tuesday, can you send in, and you can do that via these social media, again, on the screen now. I'd probably sway towards Instagram. I'm not going to lie, it's easier to DM me on there at the Young Fan Podcast, but you can do it through Twitter and also email. The email is at the youngfanpodcast at gmail.com. The Twitter is at youngfanpodcast and the Instagram is at the youngfanpodcast. Send in your predictions for next week's games. I'll be putting them against some of my predictions as well. I'm going to have a competition. Let's say 1 point for the right outcome, 3 points, let's say, for the exact correct score, and then we'll go against each other. There'll be prizes and incentives for you to win come the end of the season. Get involved, don't miss it. Great idea. That's going from next week. It would have been this week because of international courts. We couldn't kickstart it this week. So from next week, let's crack straight on with it. Anyway, enough messing about. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the podcast. Got a really, really exciting podcast episode coming very, very soon. An episode of The Interview. We're interviewing a football commentator. Someone that Oxford United fans will probably know very, very well. So I can't wait to get that out to you. I've recorded that yesterday. I sat down with him yesterday. It's a little clue. It is a him. I sat down with him yesterday doing that. That should be out very, very soon. I'm aiming for Sunday. So yeah, keep your eyes up peeled for that. Got some really, really interesting talking points. Talk about Oxford League One and the world of football commentary. You don't want to miss that. And by hitting that subscribe button, leaving a like, but also hitting the notification bell, you'll never miss an episode of the podcast. Anyway, let's not mess about. Let's get straight into the first game. Starting off with Burton Albion against Morecambe. So, in this game, let's start off with where each of them are in the league table. Burton currently find themselves in 10th position, and Morecambe find themselves in 13th position. And both sides, let's be honest, have had very, very, although they're quite, although they're in the sort of similar position in the league table, they both have had quite different starts to the season. Also, when we look about what they are compared to their expectations come the start of the season, that's also quite interesting to look at as well. Morecambe, let's be honest, I was one of those that I believe they've exceeded expectations. I don't mean that in a patronising way, but I think they have exceeded an expectation by finding themselves in 13th. They've had some really, really good performances. Cole Stockton being the man up front, has been bagging the goals in, been a great strike force. And a really, really good, reliable number 9 for them so far this season. I believe he's won Player of the Month already this season. So, he's done very, very well. And he's a massive reason, along with others, that Morecambe have had a fairly, I'd say, remarkable start to the season compared to where you think they might be. I didn't think they were going to be finding themselves in a relegation battle. Fair play to them. They're not. They currently find themselves in 13th against Burton, who are currently in 10th, had a great start to the season and have now sort of slowly, not fizzled away, that sounds quite harsh, but have slowly sort of dropped off slightly and now find themselves in 10th position, but still with it being very, very close. They're only 3 points outside the playoffs. With Morecambe as well, they're only 5 points outside the playoffs. It is a very, very tight and very, very close league. In this game, I did look at the bookies as well, and bookies are edging towards Burton. Bear in mind, this is a Friday night game. This is happening tomorrow at 7:45, and Oxford United could actually, and it could affect Oxford, Bolton, Sheffield, to the extent that if they win, that could nudge them down a few spaces. So for an Oxford and Bolton and Sheffield perspective, I think we're all going to be supporting Morecambe just a little bit in that game. But either way, I'm not going to bear that in mind. Let's not be biased too much. Let's look at it from this game and this game only at face value. I do think Burton are going to win it. I'm going to go with 2-1. 2-1 in this one. A tight game. I looked online, it was 54% of people said Burton were going to win this game, and I believe the other percent, it was very, very tight. Not many, but not really seeing a draw, and quite a few also seeing Morecambe to win. Very, very tight. Such a very, very either way type of game. This could be an encounter that goes really either way. I'm edging towards Burton. Now, that home advantage slightly, I am edging towards it. I'm going to go 2-1 in this game. Morecambe, they've got great players, like I've already mentioned. Cole Stockton, the striker, definitely a player to watch out for. But Burton Albion, I think they're going to win this game, but only just by 2-1. Right, then, let's move on to AFC Wimbledon against Sheffield Wednesday then. Again, this is a game, Sheffield Wednesday, who they lost against Oxford United and then played last Saturday when not many other teams did and beat Bolton. So, to be honest, Sheffield Wednesday, they're a little bit hit and miss so far, slightly inconsistent with how they're playing. They currently find themselves in 9th position, but again, on 18 points, and now only 2 points away from 5th, 4 points away from 3rd, and only 5 points away from joint top position. It's that close. It is that close in this League One season so far. And they're playing AFC Wimbledon in this game, who currently find themselves in a very, very interesting position and quite fascinating. We're on a 15th place, but like I said, this is the reason why it's fascinating, because 5 points, you're just outside the playoffs. It's that close. I've seen Wimbledon play this season at Oxford United. Very, very good play, very, very good side. They looked very, very good against Oxford. Bearing in mind, Oxford weren't great, but AFC Wimbledon certainly looked like a very, very well organised side. A really good side when attacking set pieces as well. They look a real threat from those set pieces, particularly for corners, or it might have just been Oxford's awful defending of corners, which is something that we have been looking at, and we have slightly improved. But Everton, whether you look at that or not, have looked very, very good going forward when it goes to corners. Have looked like a really, like I said, well-organised side. But they're playing against Sheffield Wednesday, who, although did lose to Oxford United, beat Bolton, who again have looked very, very good so far this season. So it's quite difficult. It is quite difficult to sort of judge it. They only did beat Bolton by 1-0, but either way, at home, they lost to Oxford at home. I know I keep mentioning Oxford for quite a few things. I'm using them as an example. But, you know, they did beat Bolton at home 1-0 as well. So it proves it's such a... Anyone can win on their day. You know, any team can go pretty much anywhere and get a result. I think we've seen that so far this season. In this game, though, I think Sheffield Wednesday will win. I'm going to go with 2-1. Again, quite a tight game. AFC Wimbledon at home this season. Like I've already mentioned, I've seen them play at home this season. They've looked very, very good, very, very well organised. Great crowd, great atmosphere at the ground that they weren't able to go to last season, obviously due to COVID. A newly quite new built stadium that's going to be rocking in there. So hopefully for FC Wimbledon, that home game can see them winning the game 2-1. For Sheffield Wednesday, they're going to be hoping to go on the road and get a result. I think Sheffield will do that. I'm going to go with 2-1 to them. Next up, we've got Bolton Wanderers against Wigan Athletic. What a game this is going to be. Bolton Wanderers currently find themselves in 8th position, and Wigan Athletic currently find themselves in 3rd position. Again, Wigan only 1 point off the top, and Bolton Wanderers are only about 5 points off the top. It's that close, like I've already mentioned. So it's very, very tight. I think Bolton so far this season have looked very, very good going forward. A little bit maybe lacklustre, could I say, defensively. Conceded 20 goals. They have conceded the most goals other than MK Dons from the 8 or above. They currently find something 8. So teams above them, they have actually conceded the most out of them, other than obviously MK Dons. In fact, the only other team from actually the top half is actually them and MK Dons. So from 12th or above, they're with MK Dons on conceding the most amount of goals in the top half of the League One table. However, going forward, they looked very, very good as well. Sorry, I've got that completely wrong. They conceded 16 goals, which actually does mean they have conceded the most goals other than Accrington, Stanley and Morecambe. My apologies. So it's actually Accrington, Stanley and Morecambe who have conceded just more goals than them in the top half of the League One table. When it comes to scoring goals, they've scored, I've got the wrong side, for and against. In 4, they have actually scored the most goals in the top half other than MK Dons. So, you know, they have conceded goals, but they've also have scored goals as well. 20 goals to 18, which actually means they've got a goal difference of 4. So, you know, again, but like I mentioned there, I got it mixed up with how many goals for and how many goals against. But either way, you now get the gist. I've got it right eventually. You can clearly see there that they're scoring goals. And whether they might not be as tight-knit at the back, but generally they're scoring goals. And that's going to be a real threat for Wigan. As for Wigan, they've conceded only 7 goals, the least amount of goals conceded in, I say, probably that's got to be the league. I think it is. They have got the best defence this season. 7 goals conceded, that's it, and 17 goals for. It's not a bad amount of goals either, is it? Scoring either. So you know, it's going to be a really, really interesting game. And that's what I mean. Bolton look very, very good going forward, but Wigan have got the best defence in the entire league so far this season, down to statistics. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be quite a difficult game for both sides, which is what I've got to draw on this game. I'm going to go with 1-1. I know this game really could go either way, and this probably does have a winner in it, but I'm going to go with 1-1. We haven't seen too many draws so far this season. I'm going to go with Bolton 1-1 against Wigan Athletic. Bolton looking very, very good going forward, and have to be fair, as the season's gone on, look better defensively, but Wigan Athletic have got the best defence in the league. I'm going to go with 1-1. Both up there this season as well so far. Very good starts to the season for both sides. I'm going to go with 1-1 in this game. So then, moving on to Cambridge United against Ipswich Town. What has this game got in store for us? Cambridge currently find themselves in 16th. Ipswich currently find themselves in 14th. Ipswich would have been hoping to find themselves slightly higher at this point in the season at match week 13, but either way they're not. And they've got a really difficult game against Cambridge. Cambridge at home this season are going to be in a position where they're going to want to continue what's been quite a good home record. I mean, they drew to Oxford United at the opening game of the season 1-1. I mean, it was the opening day of the season against a side that are going to be very, very excited by the fact they're playing their first game at home after winning promotion. But either way, they have looked pretty good at home so far this season. As for Ipswich, they've got a really quite interesting position that they find themselves in currently. They're clawing their way out the table slowly but surely. They did lose, I believe, in their last game. They did win 2-1, and they lost to 2-1 to Accrington and Stanley the week before that. So it's a difficult position that they find themselves in. To be fair, at the moment, they need to find a bit of consistency, need to find a little bit of momentum. And in this game, I'm going to go with a slight win, only one goal. I'm going to 1-0 to Ipswich Town in this game. I think they will. They need to find some consistency. They need to find some momentum. That's why I'm going with 1-0. Next, then we've got Cheltenham Town against Accrington Stanley. What has this game got in store for us? Cheltenham Town currently find themselves in 18th, a pretty decent start to the season, considering, let's be honest, I think a few people thought they would be already quite getting themselves in a serious relegation battle. They could get themselves in a relegation battle for sure after only 13 games. They've only played 11, even though it is match week 13. But even still, they have at the moment looked like a side that have been winning winning some pretty good games so far this season. Games you maybe they didn't think they were going to win, that they have been winning. So fair play to them. They played against Accrington Stanley, like I said, beat Ipswich in their last game. I believe I don't think they've played. So they have, that was their last game against Ipswich. I did believe that was their last one. And again, that's going to be a massive confidence boost. They didn't play last week. Their last game was a good win against Ipswich. So they're going to want to come back fighting. And, not in the sense that they're coming back fighting after it on the back of the team. They're going to come back, with some real momentum, with some real force and real confidence. And that's what they want to build on. And I think they will. I saw Accrington Stanley play at the Kassam, and they lost, I think it was, I should know, it's 5-0, wasn't it? I believe it's 5-1, sorry. And they looked pretty awful, if I'm being quite honest. But against Ipswich, they look very, very good. So they can bounce back, they get a result. Can they continue that momentum? They're going to hope so. And they're playing against Cheltenham. That's going to be quite a hard game of football, especially at home. Cheltenham have looked good at home so far this season. So I'm going to go with another draw. Quite a few draws in this game. And I'm going to go with 1-1. Cheltenham looking good at home. Acts on the back of a really good win against Ipswich. So I'm going to go with 1-1 in this game. So next time we've got Doncaster Rovers against Wycombe Wanderers. It's going to be a really, really fascinating encounter. Doncaster currently find themselves rock bottom of the League One table, whereas Wycombe Wanderers find themselves second. So when it comes to league positions, you couldn't really, other than one position, get further away from each other. I am going to go straight up and say Wycombe are going to win this game. I'm going to go with 3-1. I think Doncaster aren't completely out of it. They have struggled so far this season, losing 7 games out of 10. However, there's a chance. At home, there is a chance to find themselves and get a result. And what a result that would be to go there. That could be the change in fortune for Doncaster. But I think Wycombe will win this game. I'm going to go with 3-1 at Doncaster. Next up, we've got Fleetwood Town against Crewe, Alexandra. Fleetwood currently find themselves in a position just outside the relegation zone, in 20th position. Crewe currently find themselves in 22nd position. It's quite a not a relegation 6-pointer this early in the season, but certainly a game that we're having to look quite far down the league table. But Fleetwood, let's be honest, so far this season, they didn't look great at all at the start and slowly are now looking slightly better. I could bring the form up for me, I can read it to you here. But in the last few games, they have looked. I mean, they haven't looked great in the last 4, but before that, they looked even worse. They got a few results and now back losing games as well. So they have only won 1 game in the last 5, which doesn't back up my point great, does it? But what I'm trying to say is they started off poorly, got a few results in the middle, and now unfortunately they're getting back to where they started. With some poor performances and some poor results. Like I said, playing against Crewe Alexandra, who haven't looked great, I'd say, at all so far this season. They are currently finding themselves, again, similar. They've got the exact same form in the last 5 games as Fleetwood, only winning 1 game, drawing 3 and losing 1. Crewe find themselves on 8 points in 22nd, really, really quite struggling, you could say. So I'm going to go in this game, quite a boring, quite close, quite tight 0-0 draw. I'm not going to say it's boring. I don't think any game can be boring in football. No game can be boring. It's all a way of playing. It's all a playing style. But I think it's going to be quite a tight game, quite an edgy game. I'm going to go with 0-0 in that one. Who would like the 0-0 more? Probably Crewe. I think Fleetwood will really want to win this game at home, but it's not going to be easy. I think Fleetwood can do it, but I think it's going to be 0-0. I'm sorry, Fleetwood fans and Crewe fans. Maybe Crewe think that they can win, and they can. We've seen teams go to different destinations so far this season and look very, very good and got results. But who knows? I'm going to go with 0-0 though. That's my prediction in this one. Next time we've got Lincoln City against Charlton Athletic. What a game this is. Probably a game that when you saw it at the start of the season, thought that after 13 games it'd be a little bit more higher up the field. These two, higher up the field, higher up the league so far this season. And Lincoln City currently find themselves in 17th. Charlton currently find themselves in 21st position. Like I said, Lincoln City have had quite a mixed start to the season, whereas Charlton have had, I'd say, quite a poor start to the season. I think we could all be in agreement of that. Charlton found themselves, they did win their last game. Before that, didn't get a win in their four prior to that last win. For Lincoln City, they've drawn 2, lost 2, and won 1 in their last 5 games. Their last 2 results were a loss and a defeat. So it's not going to be a great game when it looks to at the top end of the league table, but either way, it could be a really, really exciting game because both these teams need to find a change of fortune. They need to find a way of climbing up the League One table. Are both teams under pressure? Is Michael Appleton under pressure? I'm not entirely sure. Is the Charlton manager Adkins under pressure? Maybe a little bit more than Michael Appleton is, because of what Michael Appleton has done for Lincoln City last season. He's looked very, very good for them. Whereas I think all that Adkins is still trying to prove himself at Charlton. This isn't the sort of season you'd like to see him proving himself at all, is it? So it's going to be a really quite hard game. And one really difficult to predict. So I'm going to go the draw in this game. It is at Lincoln, so maybe that is that home advantage. Who do I think have looked better this season? I'd go with Lincoln. I saw Lincoln play. We beat them 3-1, and it was a fairly interesting game of football. Lincoln didn't look great. They had a few players out with COVID and illness, I believe. But yeah, I'm going to go with 1-1 in this game. And yeah, it's going to be quite a tight game. Would have thought it'd be high up the table, these two sides at this point in the season. They're not. They need to find some momentum really, really quickly. Gillingham then against Sunderland. What has this game, how's this game going to go? What is this game? What is my prediction, I hear you ask? I think straight off, I think Sunderland are going to win the game. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way towards Gillingham, but Sunderland, who so far this season, they look like they're going to win the league, I thought, comfortably. I thought they generally were going to go off and win it, but they got beaten by Portsmouth 4-0, and that threw a few people off. It certainly threw me off quite a lot. I didn't think Portsmouth would beat Sunderland 4-0. Not respect to Portsmouth either, but I just didn't think that was going to happen. I think they need to bounce back, and they're going to want to bounce back, aren't they? When you lose a game 4-0 on the road, you need to back it up. There are away again to Gillingham. They're not going to be hoping for another 4-0 defeat. I don't think it will be. I think Sunderland are going to come back fighting. They're going to come back with some real, not anger in them, but a real point to prove after losing that last game. I'm going to go 3-0. They're going to nearly make up the scoreline that they conceded against Portsmouth. I'm going to go Gillingham 0, Sunderland 3. I think Gillingham maybe could get something from it. I mean, Gillingham might smell blood after they saw them lose the last game 4-0, but I think Sunderland may just have too much. They may have that bit of edge to the game where they are sort of proving themselves after losing the last one. So I'm going to go 3-0 in this clash. Next time we've got Oxford United against Plymouth Argyle. What is this game? Well, I mean, this is going to be a hard game for both sides, but I don't like predicting Oxford games. I don't mind predicting the other games, but Oxford games I just don't like predicting. No one likes predicting their own team. It's like you never put a bet on your own team because you don't want to jinx anything. You don't want to. You just want to let it go out. It doesn't really affect me too much what happens elsewhere. I'm happy to put predictions on there, but my selfish point of view suggests I don't want to get this wrong. I don't want to jinx anything. Even though I'm not a real believer in jinx, I still do believe slightly that if I say we're going to win the game, we just won't. However, I did say that we're going to either draw the game or lose the game against Sheffield Wednesday in the last predictions, and we went on and won it 2-1. So maybe there's something in the air. Maybe I should just predict just that we get smashed against Plymouth and hope that we get something positive from the game. I'm not going to do that. I am going to try and give my honest prediction. And my prediction is Oxford will win the game 2-1. But anyway, let's get into more detail about it. Plymouth currently find themselves at the top of the League One table and have looked very, very good so far this season. They've got some great players. Hardy, Jeffcott being the two up front. Hardy in particular has been fantastic so far this season. I saw a comment on my last episode, which was my League One team this season so far after the first 11 games. Who have been the best players? I didn't put Hardy in, and I got a little bit of stick for it from some Plymouth fans. But fair play to Plymouth. Fair play. They've done very, very well so far this season. I expect they'll continue on that. They've got confidence. They're current league leaders. They're not going to want to drop that off against Oxford United. They're not going to lose that position against Oxford, even though they are travelling to us on Saturday. they're not going to want to lose that title at all. For Oxford United, we had a very, very good result against Sheffield Wednesday. One of the best results I think we'll have this season, going there and winning the game 2-1. But I do think we're going to edge the game by 2-1. I think we will. But that's not to say Plymouth strike me so far this season as a team that likes to play on the break. And they've got great power at doing that. Hardy and Jephcott can do that. And they honestly can do that. They've got the ability, they've got the real edge to them on the break that have the ability to that. And Oxford have got to be careful. Can we be patient is going to be the question from Oxford United fans and from everyone around Oxford. Can they be patient and can they win the game? I'm going to go 2-1, but it's going to be tight, it's going to be hard, and Plymouth look very good so far this season. Next, then we've got Rotherham United against Portsmouth. Another really, really good game of football, this one. I mean, I don't know it's going to be a good game of football. I'm saying that before the game's kicked off, of course. But I think this will be a good game of football. Rotherham find themselves currently in 5th position. They've looked pretty good so far this season, only losing 3 games, winning 6. Portsmouth currently find themselves in 12th. So, yeah, let's be honest. They both have looked fairly good so far this season. Portsmouth maybe not to the position they maybe would want to be. But generally, Portsmouth in their last game looked very good, beating Sunderland 4-0. So, yeah, I mean, whatever happens in this game, it's going to be quite tight, I think it is. But I still expect a good game of football with goals. I've gone with 1-1. And that's not to say that I think Rotherham maybe could win it and maybe look at league table. They're higher up. There's a home advantage. You maybe say Rotherham would win this game, but I don't think it will be. I think Portsmouth will take real confidence from beating Sunderland at 4-0, beating who were at the time league leaders 4-0. You're going to have some severe confidence and some real confidence going into the next game. So I expect that. I think it's going to be 1-1. Rotherham, though, have looked good so far. Like I've already mentioned, they have looked like a really good side that after getting relegated in the summer down to League One, they're going to be real and continue to fight their way back into the Championship. For Portsmouth, they're climbing up the league table slowly but surely, but are getting there, only 5 points away from 5th position, who are Rotherham United. And finally, Shrewsbury Town against MK Dons. MK Dons currently find themselves in 6th position. I don't know why I did MK Dons first. They are away. Shrewsbury are currently find themselves in a position of let's find them 23rd. I had to scroll down a little bit there in the league table. Haven't seen Shrewsbury play so far this season. We haven't played Oxford yet, or they haven't played MK Dons yet either. So I haven't seen both of these teams play for a 90-minute game of football. But looking at the league table, Shrewsbury are struggling to an extent. They are struggling quite a lot in 23rd, whereas MK Dons are having a very, very good start to this season. Some great players MK Dons have got playing for them so far this season. And look like a real force. 19th points, not 19th position. 19 points, 6th position. I think MK Dons are going to win this game. I'm going to go 1-0. Not an easy place to go, Shrewsbury, but either way, when they're struggling, MK Dons have got confidence. They want to continue and to keep their position in the top 6. I am going to go with 1-0 in this game. Right, they are my predictions for match week 13. Remember, next week you can get involved. Get your predictions into either or any games from next week. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Unfan Podcast. I've been Jack. Like and subscribe, please, and hit that notification on. That'll be much appreciated. Until next time, take care, stay safe. I'll see you all very, very soon. See you in a bit.